Hola, welcome to the first Flipgrid for chapter 11, 11.1 and 11.2. This Flipgrid is going to cover two grammar topics. The first one is por and para, and when to use which one, which word. And then we're going to be introduced to the subjunctive mood. And so that's going to be kind of a continuing theme throughout this whole course. So today's just your very first taste introduction, and then there will be lots more to follow. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Pull up my PowerPoint for 11.1. Like I said, this is 11.1, 11.2. So por and para, they are they both mean for, like the preposition for, but there are so many uses for the word for, and por and para is kind of tricky because there's quite a few rules that go with when to use which one. And for me, I'll be completely honest with you, I never sat down in Spanish, high school Spanish or college Spanish and learned the rules for por and para. The best way, or the way, I guess, that I sort of learned which one was appropriate in which circumstance is just by exposure to the language and hearing them used in conversation, in music, on TV, whilst communicating with native speakers. And then you just kind of get to know like the phrases which por fits and para fits. However, that is like the worst advice I can give you as your Spanish teacher. So hopefully you'll forgive me for being completely honest with you about that, because you are required to know when to use por and para as per the list of rules that I'm about to show you. So I guess my purpose of that was, if this seems very tedious to you, learning all the rules for por and para, there is another way, and it just comes with time, exposure, practice. That was why I was telling you that, not to be like, well, this is stupid, don't learn this, but it's tedious. Anyway, so we are going to use para when talking about, I like acronyms. When there's a long list of rules, I tend to try to find a way to make it a little bit easier to remember. And so acronyms are pretty good. So we use the acronym PERFECT. So we use para for purpose, effect, recipient, future dates, deadlines, or events, employment, comparison, and going toward a specific place. So for purpose, you're going to use it with an infinitive. Salí temprano para ver a mis amigos. And that's kind of like in order to. I left early in order to see my friends, for a purpose. And like I said, in that case, with the purpose, it's used typically with another verb. Para comer, para ver, para obtener, para conseguir. Effect that something has on something else. So para mantener la salud, hago ejercicio. Hago ejercicio is the cause, and then the effect is para mantener la salud. I could actually flip those clauses in that sentence. Hago ejercicio para mantener la salud. In Spanish, it's cool to do that. I exercise to maintain my health, or I maintain my health by exercising. So anyway, cause and effect. Recipient. El regalo es para mi hermano. That one's kind of easy to remember. So when something is for somebody else, use para. Future dates, deadlines, or events. Debemos terminar el trabajo para el lunes. This one's kind of tricky because in English, we don't really use for like that. We wouldn't say, we need to have this done for Monday. We would probably say, we need to have this done by Monday. So I feel like this one's kind of a little trickier because we don't have that English equivalent. But just think, in order to have something done for a future date, it needs to be done by, use para. Employment. Yo trabajo para TCC. ¿Para quién trabajas tú? Comparison. Para un niño de 5 años, lee muy bien. So compared to other 5-year-old kids, this one reads really well. Compared to para una mujer de España, from, compared to other women or just any kind of comparison. You can use para and then the comparison to follow. Toward a specific place. En la mañana vamos para la playa. So this toward and then you're gonna see around and through are used with por. The preposition does matter. Sometimes it doesn't matter, and that's another thing about why I hate teaching por and para, because sometimes it makes sense to use either or, and you know, it's splitting hairs if you're going through a place, towards a place, or around a place. In this particular example, if you're going towards, like if you're heading somewhere, think of it like that. If you're heading to the beach, use para, okay? That's actually good. I should put if you're heading there. So those are the rules about when to use para. The rules for por, the acronym is attracted. Yes, I know that it is spelled incorrectly. My spelling is much better in Spanish than it is in English, because Spanish is actually easier. It's very phonetic. Whereas English, anyway, I spelled attracted wrong. It's okay. It's just there to help you remember the rules or uses for por. So around a place, vamos por Madrid. We're going around Madrid. Through a place, vamos por Madrid. We're going through Madrid towards Sevilla. Vamos por Madrid para Sevilla. Okay, so around, through, and towards, we're headed towards. Little tricky, not gonna lie. Reason, se pelearon por un programa de televisión. They were fighting over a TV program. They both wanted to pick what was on. To acquire something. Estoy trabajando por un sueldo mejor. I'm working for in order to acquire a better salary. Cost. Las manzanas cuestan 3 por $1. They cost 3 for $1. Cost is pretty easy. Same with the next one. Thanks. Whenever you're thankful for something, gracias por. Thank you for. Gracias por la comida. Thank you for the food. Exchange. So te cambio mi hamburguesa por tu pizza. This for that. Tit for tat. And then duration. Estaba estudiando por 3 horas. Anytime you're talking about how long something was happening for, por 3 horas, por 3 años. Okay. All right, so here's what I'm gonna have you guys do with por and para. I have a few questions that use por or para, and these are not, like, I'm not looking for long answers in your Flipgrid. Back to me, 1 sentence per question is plenty. ¿Por cuáles razones trabajamos? Why do we work? ¿Para quién trabajas? For who do you work? So let me preface this a little bit by saying chapter 11 is all about work life, like your jobs of your dreams, salary, financial stuff like that. So that's why I chose to ask some questions about that. ¿Qué crees que es necesario para tener éxito? Para tener éxito is like to be successful. In order to be successful. So that's one of the rules with para, in order to. ¿Por cuántos años has trabajado en su posición actual? For how many years? And then I reviewed that present perfect we learned last chapter. For how many years have you been working, or have you worked, I guess, en su posición actual? Actual is a false cognate word. It actually means current, but it sounds like actual. It really means like your present position, your current position. How long have you been working in your current position? Also, tell me what it is, because again, I'm a little nosy. What do you do? And then, well, I guess, ¿para quién trabajas is already one of the previous questions. And then finally, ¿qué significa para ti tener éxito en la vida? So this is kind of a little bit more profound question. Again, you don't need to be like verbose in your answer. Just give me a quick little 1 sentence. Para mí, tener éxito es tener un trabajo bueno, o puede ser algo diferente. Puede tener éxito para mí no es tener mucho dinero. No tiene nada que ver con el dinero. Para mí, tener éxito es ser feliz. Es mi opinión. Si yo estoy feliz en mi vida, si soy una persona muy contenta, ya tengo éxito. No tiene nada que ver con mi trabajo, con dinero, ni mi familia tampoco. Yo tengo una familia increíble, pero lo que es más importante es que yo soy una persona feliz. All right, I'm going to leave por en para right there. I'm going to be done with it, right? It'll be on your quiz for this chapter. I will let you know if it's on your final, but like that's as much as I want to do with it. Moving on to the subjunctive mood. All right, you've probably heard me mention it before. I know I mentioned it in a couple of other of my videos. Basically all of this class, Spanish 123, is all about the subjunctive mood. And it's like that, we do take an entire quarter to study it and work with it and use it because it's really weird. It's this thing that we don't understand very well as English speakers, although we do use it sometimes in English. It's a mood, it's not a verb tense, but I'll probably mess up and call it the subjunctive tense or conjugate in the subjunctive tense. But it's not a tense, it's a mood. So far in your studies of Spanish, you've learned one mood, right? The indicative mood. And the indicative mood is just very objective, factual. You can state facts, you can say what is happening, you can say what happened. We learned that in Spanish 122, a couple different ways to speak in the past tense. Or ask questions. The subjunctive is more, it's a mood because it includes some sort of sentiment or feeling about something. And so it always requires two verbs in the sentence. The first verb is going to express how somebody or something feels about something else. And then the second verb is pushed into the subjunctive. Lots more on that and the uses of the subjunctive coming up. This lesson and the beginning of this chapter is really just how do you not conjugate, how do you form the subjunctive mood? It looks like conjugating, that's why I say that. So when you form the subjunctive, you do it, like I said, in much the same way that we've been conjugating for all this time that we've been learning Spanish. So you're going to manipulate the verbs. Like I said, the subjunctive mood involves two verbs. The first verb in the sentence is going to be in the indicative tense. It can be the present or the past, doesn't matter. But it's going to push another verb into the subjunctive. And when you push another verb into the subjunctive, you have to change the endings. And so here's how you do that. If you have an AR verb, you're going to drop the AR, just like we have been conjugating. And you're going to add what I like to call the ER endings. So the ER endings, think back to the present tense, are OS, A, hemos, ES, N. But the yo form doesn't add an O. The yo form just adds, it's the same as that third person form. So for an AR verb, it adds an E. So for example, the verb cantar, if it were pushed into the subjunctive, it would sound like this. Yo canté, tú cantes, él, ella, usted cante. Nosotros cantemos, vosotros cantéis, ellos, ellas, ustedes canten. As you can see, all except for the yo form, those are the regular ER present tense verb endings. For ER and IR verbs, same thing. You're going to drop the ER or the IR ending. So we're still dropping that ending. And then you're going to add the AR verb endings, except for the yo form. So we don't use the O at the end of the yo form in subjunctive. We give it that third person. So, so the endings are a, as, a, amos, ais, an. So the verb deber would be deba, debas, deba, debamos, debais, deban. Vivir would be viva, vivas, viva, vivamos, vivais, vivan. Again, I'm not even going to get into really the uses of the subjunctive. Just know that, especially in the second half of this chapter, we're going to talk about volition, which means you want something for somebody else, and making recommendations and stuff like that. So all I want you to do is get some practice forming the subjunctive for AR, ER, and IR verbs, just regular verbs. And I have, like I said, just a few little things that you can practice here in the second part of your Flipgrid video. And it says, haz algunas recomendaciones sobre el trabajo a tus compañeros empleando el subjuntivo. So you're making recommendations. Recomiendo que, es necesario que, insisto que, no creo que, no es cierto que, or es importante que. I would say just take maybe 3 or 4 of these. You don't have to do them all. And follow them with a verb. So after that que, I recommend that. It is necessary that. I insist that. Put it in the to-form subjunctive, whatever that verb is. So you might say something like, I recommend that you arrive to work on time. It is necessary that you wear nice clothes, fancy clothes. I insist that you respect your boss. So in those 3 examples, you would be using the verb llegar, to arrive, llevar, to wear, and respetar, which is to respect. And then you would take that verb and you would put it in the subjunctive. So again, this is just the beginning, and you might need lots more practice with the subjunctives. Don't worry if you don't really understand it yet. There's so much more coming. But just think really simple, like recommendations. And I'd like to hear 3 or 4. And you don't have to use my sentence starters either. If you don't like these, but you want to come up with your own, you're welcome to do that. These are safe though, because I know that these will all be followed by the subjunctive. Es importante que, it's important that. Anyway, that is all for this one. I look forward to hearing your responses. Please email me or let me know if you have any questions or need any more help. I'm always happy to do that. And I will see you next week. Adios.